Hello, everyone. Welcome to our migraine strategy session. I am Debbie Waidl. I am here with Cheryl today, who is a graduate of our Freedom from Migraine Method program. And Cheryl is joining us today to share her experience and her migraine freedom journey. So, Cheryl, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure.
Wonderful. Well, before we dive into all the questions that I know everyone is going to want to hear the answers to, can you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself so that they know who they're listening to today?
I am Cheryl Baker, married and have three children, three grown children who live in different areas, so I have to travel to go see them, and a little dog, and I'm a teacher, full-time teacher.
Shocking. We have another
Yeah,
teacher that we're talking to.
of the little, so they're not patient.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Well, first of all, thank you for everything you do with education because, man, we need more amazing teachers like you. It's not an easy thing anymore from what I'm hearing. And I know I wouldn't have the patience to do it. So thank you for all you do to shape our future.
Oh yeah, I love it. I do love it. It's a challenge. It's very challenging. Some days I'm like, do I like this? But I do.
Well, and I think that's the same with most of you, right? That we end up talking to in this program. We have, because we really, most of the women we support are educators and in the health field. And I think that the reason that we support so many of you is because you are so passionate about your work, but it is a challenge. So it takes a lot from you, and we have to teach you how to give back to yourself, right? To make sure that your cup is full so you can take care of everyone else. That
That's right.
oxygen mask, right? I was just flying this week, and when I heard that again, I'm like, yep, it is so true. We have to put that oxygen mask on first. But so thank you. But let's dive into why we're here. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about medication. That's not something that we talk about a lot on these calls. And the reason I really wanted to focus on this was because I am hearing so many more women lately who are desperate and willing to take almost anything to end their pain. And I was there. Trust me, I was there. But I really want women to understand what, happens when you do that. So, it's what our doctors tell us, and we think it's the right thing to do. So tell us, Cheryl, what did your doctor prescribe for you over the years? And how did you feel about taking that medication you were prescribed?
Well, I will tell you, I was never a medication person. I don't like medication. I've never ever liked medication, but you're right. Migraines made me desperate. And
Hmm.
I would literally take anything. And I
Hmm.
would take a lot of it if I had to, because it needed to be gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you want the names of the medications that I
Yeah.
would
If
take?
you remember.
Yeah, I do. I took nortriptyline, I took verapamil, and those were the preventative medications that I was taking that didn't prevent
Hmm.
any. And then I went through the whole line of triptans just to rule them out that they weren't working. And the interesting part is the years that I went through all of this, when you would go to so I would have originally when my migraine started, they would be once a month or once every other month. And
Hmm.
they would last 3 days, but they were pretty intense. But
Yep.
I didn't really, I would stick with the Advils, Excedrins, and kind of muddle my way through. But then they
Yep.
just escalated into more of a daily thing. So then I was on these preventatives and these bigger meds, these
Yep.
triptans. And then I would go into the neurologist and she'd be like, "Oh, you only had 6 this month. Well, that's great. So they're working." I'm thinking, no, no, I shouldn't be taking all these meds and getting all these migraines. They
Yeah.
were ruling my life. So on top of that, I was going to an integrative health doctor. I was on all these vitamins. I was going to acupuncture, and she would say my adrenals are fatigued, and it was, and each time I would go to the neurologist, it would be like, okay, well, let's just try this med. So it was just fluctuating. And then I was on progesterone because I was on this 7-day loop of migraines, and I don't know. So then once I made it through all the triptans, then I went to the Ubrelvy, and it was just one thing right after another. And that's when I met you. And I was just like, I was in the end, it wasn't working. And they were claiming the next time I would go to the neurologist, she's like, okay, we'll wean you off of this med and
Yep.
then we'll put you on this next med. And I said to my husband, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I mean, my adrenals were fatigued. I was done. I was done.
And I love one thing that you said, because this is something I've heard from a lot of people lately when I get on a call and chat with them about their journey, is they're like, well, I only get 5 migraines a month now. I'm taking 6 meds. I only get 5 migraines a month now. I'm like,
Right.
well, you actually probably get 15 or more migraines a month. They're just being masked by that
Right.
medication. They're still hiding there in the background. You're still inflamed. You're still sick. And you're actually, by taking all those meds, you're keeping the migraines coming back because
Mhm.
of rebound and medication overuse. So did you ever think about that? Did you ever think about rebound
I
migraines?
I did not. I really I didn't even know that that was a thing. I I was so focused on just not getting them. I didn't realize that by taking all this meds, I was making them come back.
Yeah,
But
me too.
I knew something wasn't right because
Yeah,
it wasn't working and the neurologist was just like kind of excited. I mean, I don't want to say excited, but when she would look through my whole thing, I'd write down all the stuff. She just would count the days out and then be like excited about it. And I'm thinking,
yeah,
that is nothing to be excited about. And on top of those heavy dose meds, I was still taking the Advils and
yep,
all that because I needed to fill in the times.
yeah, me too.
And,
Me too.
and there
Like
were times I
pouring
was
it out, like,
overdosing. Yeah.
well, that looks like a good amount, pop.
Right. And I was overdosing. That one time I remember going in there and they're like, oh yeah, don't do that with those triptans. She's like, oh, don't take that many. And I'm thinking, okay, but you don't understand. Yeah.
Yeah. You come live in my shoes. You try
Yeah.
to teach and you see what it's like
Mhm.
when you have X amount of triptans and you feel like garbage every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. Did you
But
ever
the
think,
true sad part is though that once your migraine is gone, that next day you feel like a you still feel like crap.
yeah,
Like
like you're
crap.
hungover?
Like a hungover. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's terrible. Yeah.
So you take the med, it gets rid of the migraine, you feel hungover, and then in a couple days you get another med.
Get
So
another one.
you're on
Yeah.
this like hamster
Mhm.
wheel cycle. So when your doctor was prescribing these medications, back then, did you believe that there was a medication that was going to make the migraines never come back again? Or did
That
you?
was my hope. That was my hope.
Okay.
That truly was my hope was that because I was led to believe through my neurologist, like we just have to find the right one. We just need
Yeah.
to keep on trying. We
Yeah.
just need to keep on trying. They're working for other people. And in the meantime, my blood pressure was going high. I could tell my body was shutting down.
Yeah, we don't think about that, do we? Like, how many people go to the pharmacy, pick up the medication, come home, and open up that packet that is like this long in there and read all those side effects and read the warnings? And I know somebody in the group last week said, you should never read those. You should never read the warnings because then they're thinking that, now you're going to feel all those symptoms. But we need to read the warnings because there is a risk even for taking a Tylenol. There's
Mhm.
a risk for every pill we put in our mouth. And sometimes the risk outweighs, when we have to, right? If you literally can't move, you're in massive pain, you've got a level 8 headache or migraine, you're probably going to take something, right? But you have to realize that there's a risk to that. And we don't think about it that way because you're in so much pain. You're in so
Oh,
much pain.
yeah. And when I first started, I did read it. I did read through all of
Did
that. And
you?
I was so nervous to take it. I'm just like, should I or shouldn't I? I'm not sure. And I called all these people. But towards the end, I was just like, what else? Give me
Yeah.
more.
I know.
Come
I know. Yeah, I was taking like 7 meds by the time I was done, 7 prescribed.
Yeah,
And then I would still keep Advil and Tylenol. I don't even know why I bothered with the Tylenol because it was like taking a Tic Tac, right?
yeah,
When you're desperate, you're like, okay, I took Advil, so it's been 2 hours. I can try a Tylenol. And maybe if I'm really desperate, I'll maybe throw the Excedrin in there. And then by the time you're done, I'm like, oh my God, my gut and my
right.
kidneys. And, I mean, I didn't feel good. And I caused, some really good gut damage by doing that. So for any of you out there that are like constipated, have diarrhea, have gas and bloating and all that, and if you're taking meds, guess what? It's not helping.
Mhm.
So I kind of know what you're going to say, Cheryl, but how do you feel about meds now?
Oh, they're the worst. They're the worst thing and they don't help. They're not the answer. And you've said it yourself. They are a Band-Aid and
Hmm.
they're just kind of masking, but they're not really even masking.
Yeah.
think they're trying to make us, they were kind of making me feel better, thinking like giving me false hope.
Yep.
That's what they are. They're like they're false hope.
Yeah. They're a
And they were
management tool,
and they
right?
lined my counter. It was about they what?
They're a management tool. They're not an ending tool. They're just a
No.
management tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you have that nice long shelf?
So glad it's gone. Mhm.
I know, and you could never have a cute little purse because you need a big
Mhm.
purse when you go everywhere.
Yeah, right.
I always
And
had the
like,
big suitcase so I could fit the
yeah.
Advil and the Imitrex and an ice pack
Mhm.
and whatever else I needed in there. But all those cute little purses were so sweet and
Yeah.
like that will never work for me.
No, and heaven forbid you forget it. You're like, what? Girl, come
Oh,
back.
you know how many times I
You can't.
stopped at a drugstore and my husband's like,
Mhm.
"You have like 4 bottles of Advil at home." I'm like,
No.
but I forgot it.
Yeah.
So we got to stop because we're out.
Mhm.
And if I'm at a friend's house and I need it and they don't have it, and what am I going to do? And, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, that's how desperate you get when you're in pain. And
Mhm.
it's so sad. And our sweet doctors, don't get me wrong, most of our doctors, they're giving you the meds because they don't want to see you in pain,
Right.
right? And they just don't know what else to do. They just really don't know what else to do. I chatted with somebody this week. I can't remember where they were. I think it was like Iowa. And she basically said her doctor's like, I don't know what to do for you.
Mhm.
I have no idea. I've given you the meds aren't working. I don't know what to do for you. And I just was like, oh my gosh, give me 15 minutes with that doctor and let me teach that
Yeah.
doctor what to teach you how to
Mhm.
do. But so are you taking any meds now?
No, nothing,
And how are your
nothing.
migraines now compared to before the program?
Like I was telling you before, I've had maybe a handful of migraines, migraines per se, more little pressure in my head during the day. And no, and I've had to take Advil again, the handful of times this school year. And that is like miracle, a blessing, a true blessing. Oh, I just can't even, I just can't even, it's just the best thing ever.
I should have looked it up before, but do you remember how long you've been out of the program?
It's going to be a year in June. Last June,
Okay.
I started. As soon as school was done, that's when I started. So it's going to be a year.
Nice. So this is not
Not,
a short-lived thing. This is been
mm-mm.
ongoing for you. So
Oh
the
yeah.
things that you worked on have been
Mhm.
you've been able to get off these meds.
Oh yeah. I'm off all of them, everything. Just look through my Ubrelvy and they're all expired. And I'm like, see ya.
I love that. I love that. And just a disclaimer for everyone watching this, we're not saying that medication is bad. We're not anti-medication, but as we teach and talk about in the Freedom from Migraine method, medication is a Band-Aid that should be used temporarily. If you are in pain right now, if you are having, migraines and you need those medications, take them, but realize that that is a management tool. And now you need to find the way to get to the root cause so that, like Cheryl, you can slowly start weaning off your meds. Obviously, chatting with your healthcare team. I have to say, please do not stop any medications. I did stop all mine on my own, but you really should be chatting with a doctor so they know what's going on. But we do it and we do it slowly because you learn the tools, you learn what you need to in the program, and then some of those just like fall to the wayside, right? Like you don't have to learn to get off of Advil, you just don't need it anymore.
Need it. Mm-mm. Yeah.
So that is the great thing about meds is, you can just slowly start weaning your way down. And for those of you that are taking as many medications as Cheryl and I just mentioned, really good chance you are dealing with rebound or, medication overuse headache, whatever you want to call it. And that takes some work to actually stop that cycle. There's a couple ways we can do it and we support people in our program to do it, but we don't recommend doing it instantly. We really need to get our bodies ready to be able to do that. And then when we do it that way, it's so much easier. So
Mhm.
much easier. Oh, I'm so happy that you're off of all meds. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for a freaking whole school year. You've had a handful of head pressure days. That's like a normal human being. Because let's face it, some people are like, oh my God, she still had 5 head pressure days. How many people in the normal world
Yeah.
have 5 headaches in a school year? I mean,
My
that's,
husband has to remind me, like, Cheryl, you are human. Things are
yeah,
going to happen.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't typically get head pressure. I still get neck pressure every once in a while. And as you and I were talking about before, we usually know why.
Mhm.
We know what's happened. Like I got a little head pressure just the other day when I was sitting on the airplane. We were taxiing to the gate and I'm watching my other flight leave.
Ah,
I'm like, that must be my plane. And sure enough, my phone pinged, your flight is gone. We booked you on a new flight tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, I could just feel myself get like, I just want to go home and get tense. And I mean, it was a great trip, but you know, when it's done, you just want to move on. But I knew I was feeling it. So I kicked into some of my things that I needed to do, did my tools, and then I didn't need the med.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the great things that, you know, people can do once we learn. So, oh, this is so amazing. So Cheryl, you're going to have a captive audience watching this video for years and years to come. So the women that are watching are obviously women just like you a year ago in that same place. Is there anything that you would like to say to them to give them some hope or to let them know that they can get to where you are?
Well, I'll just say a year ago, this time I was crawling home from work, basically, and crawling into bed. I mean, just making it through the day, getting into bed, and just going in hopes that the migraine wouldn't escalate into a full-fledged one. I was, yeah, like I said, taking all the meds, living week by week, just which day this week am I going to get the med? And I wouldn't make any plans. So I met you, and just by chance, and I took a chance on it. And I would say there are answers out there. And Debbie and her team, they have the answers, and it is now a natural part of my life. And I will never stop using the tools,
Mm-hmm.
because they're life tools. They're not just migraine tools. They're life tools. They work. I have energy. I don't have to sleep all the time. I'm not tired all the time. I feel great. I love being outside. And I was always an active person. I
Mm-hmm.
always worked out, but that just declined.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just be myself again. And even my kids are like, I can tell, Mom, you're happy. It
Yeah.
just makes a difference. It's just take a risk, take a chance. You have to take a risk. And I now am the captain of my migraine ship. Not the medications, not anybody else. I know. I feel my body. I make the changes. I tweak it, and it's all natural. I mean, what I mean by natural is like, it's not like I have to totally change my lifestyle to
Right.
fit this. It's just how I live. It is, and it's easy. It's easy.
Yeah,
So
it becomes second nature, right? It's like riding
yeah.
a bike. Once you figure out what's right for you, because that is the key. Like what's right for Cheryl is not right for everyone else that's doing the program now. Everyone kind of has to find what works for them based on their health history, and based on what you're willing to do,
Yeah.
right? You know, like somebody today told me, which I never knew, that some people that are Christian don't like to do yoga because of what the poses mean. I had no idea. So I'm going to research it. That's, you know, cool. That's fine. So then I'm like, oh, well, you just do a different exercise,
Yeah.
right? No, you don't have to do yoga, or you don't have to do meditation, or you don't have to eat broccoli, right? We
Right.
find what works for you. And that's the
Right.
key. Because
Mm-hmm.
then, as you said, you can be the captain of your
Mm-hmm.
migrant ship
Yep.
because you're willing to do those things. I'm not telling you, like, if you hate liver, I'm not telling you you have to eat liver for the rest of your life because you're not
Right.
going to sustain that, right? The
No,
liver is
right.
good for you people. It is good for you.
I know.
I don't eat it either.
I don't either, but I'm trying to work it in somehow, but I'm not there yet.
I'm not there yet either. I'm with you. So anyone that's watching this on the replay, let us know below if you eat liver and how you make it, because
Yeah.
I'm willing to try. Organ meats are so good for you. You know, we just can't
Mm-hmm.
get everything in the nutrients and all the other food. But anyway, that's a whole other story. So, well, thank you again, Cheryl. Thank you so much for sharing. We really appreciate it because it makes a huge difference for other women to hear that there is hope and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So,
There is, and it's great. It's great.
yeah.
It's great to live my life again. I just can't say enough. It's the best.
And this is in your last 2 weeks of school during a crazy time too.
Ah, I know. I think back often where I was last year, and it was awful, and I just I cannot say enough about how great it is.
Aw, well, thank you so much. And if anybody has questions for Cheryl or myself, please make sure you comment below this video. You're welcome to tag either one of us, or if you don't remember, we'll make sure, remember, the team is taking a look and they get the questions to the right person, because at the end of the day, all we want for you is migraine freedom. So whatever way, shape, or form we can help you get there, please let us help you. And if for those of you who have not checked out my podcast, please make sure you check out Migraine Freedom Your Way. We are on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you watch podcasts. And there is an episode, was trying to see if I could look it up really quick. There is an episode that is on medication. I wish I had these memorized in my head so that I would remember what number it is. Number 16. So if you find episode number 16 of the podcast, it's going to talk a little bit more in depth on the impact of medications and the things that you can start doing today that are going to move you towards where Cheryl is right now. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Here's to your migraine-free day, and we will see you in the group. Take care.